Welcome to Las Icónicos, where we discuss waste literacy. I'm Alisa Garcia, with me is Sheena Gutierrez, and let's get started. How is everyone doing? I hope we're all doing good. And how about you, Latina? How are you?
I'm doing fine. It's a great day. Very chill, and I'm ready to learn and give knowledge. How about you?
I'm also doing good. I'm always outside, doing this and that, and, just enjoying my time.
You're always outside? Wow, that's new for you.
Hey, I'm a changed woman, I need sunlight and a nightlife. I remember something. I go home at night a lot now, and I notice that a lot of food waste is always on the road, and not just waste, okay, but the rubbish and the food packets, but food. I see many food waste, especially in the market. I think those are raw foods like the vegetables that they didn't sell out in the morning, or those are from the food places in the market that they didn't sell out during the day that are now food waste. I thought about it, and honestly, it affects many people on the road. Like the sidewalk isn't a sidewalk anymore because of the garbage or the food waste. The smell of it also is very concerning. With the mask, you can still smell it, and the waste is blocking the road. I think people are not aware of it, or they don't really care about it.
You know, nowadays, people ignore food waste. Many don't pay too much attention to it, and honestly, not many people see it as a concern.
That's a fact. People only see a few articles or news about food waste. I see very little information about it, and honestly, I'm always on social media or I'm always watching television. I haven't heard much about food waste. I think only a few big platforms discussed about it. The news isn't spread enough, so not many people are actually aware of it.
From what I heard, food waste isn't a joke. The Philippines wasted 1,717 metric tons of food each day. According to the Department of Science and Technology Food and Nutrition Research Institute, contributing to the country's growing hunger. That is concerning for us, and it is just from the Philippines alone. A third of the world's food goes to waste. That amounts to about 1.3 billion tons annually. Every year, a staggering amount of food is lost across the globe. A staggering third of all food produced for human consumption worldwide is lost or wasted.
Wow, that is very, very concerning. Imagine how many people could be fed with those numbers. Food waste has so much more effects than we know, and many people should know that every input used to produce, process, transport, prepare, and even store discarded food is also wasted when food is thrown away. Food loss and waste exacerbate the climate change crisis, which significantly impacts greenhouse gases, I mean. Methane, an even more potent greenhouse gas, is produced when food is dumped in landfills. Significant amount of carbon dioxide are released into the atmosphere due to its production, transportation, and handling. Imagine that.
Wow, that affects us. But are there things that we can consider to prevent it? Like things we can do or help us prevent it? I know that we can stop it immediately, but I know that there are things that we can do to diminish it slowly.
When I saw that, I knew that I also create food waste, so I researched how to lessen it, and there are many things we can do to prevent it actually. Here are some things that I have researched that we can do to help the environment slowly. So I do this also, so to our dear listeners, please take notes of this and keep this in mind always. I know you're young, but this is very important. So the first one is plan and buy only what you need. This is very common for me, and this is not new. Going to the store without a plan or on an empty stomach can lead to buying more than we need. To keep your kitchen on track, try to eat leftovers. Think of meals you might eat out and avoid unnecessary purchases by planning your grocery list. This will not only save food but also save you money. So second is use your freezer. If you have, of course. While fresh food has plenty of benefits, frozen foods can be just as nutritious. They also stay edible for much longer. A lot of seafoods, for example, of course, is frozen before it reaches your supermarket and then thawed and put on display. That means it will only stay fresh for a few days. Buying frozen seafood can considerably extend the product's shelf life. Cooking and freezing food, mainly produce, before it goes wrong is a great way to avoid having to toss it. Third is be creative with leftovers. Before you shop, use the food you already have. Use it for another recipe or another dish. Lastly is blend, bake, or boil. Fruits and vegetables that are beyond ripe may not look too pretty, but that doesn't mean they can taste delicious in recipes, right? Use your wilting, browning, or imperfect produce to make sweet smoothies, breads, jams, sauces, or soup stocks. Well, that's just a few things I have researched. How about you, Chi? Do you have more ideas?
I know about something that an organization in the Philippines has done. The four organization with the Worldwide Fund for Nature are Viewpark Hotel, Ciclo Modern Filipino, Rise Against Hunger Philippines, and Earth Venture Green Space. Together, they gather bloggers and foodies within Metro Manila and Tagaytay on May 25, 2019. They said that we've experienced how big of a buzzword sustainability has become in the past decades. But despite the world's popularity, not a lot of people still understand what it means, how important it is, or how individuals can participate in supporting the movement, and how it spans and affects the different industries of society, including food. They said that unsustainable food consumption and production, which leads to food waste, is now the biggest threat to our environment today, which consumes 70% of terrestrial biodiversity loss and 69% of global freshwater. The WWF project manager Mel Dumel-Lorick, titled Save Our Planet, No Space for Waste, was welcomed by the media and local foodie from Metro Manila and Tagaytay City. Via its groundbreaking project on sustainable consumption and production, the Sustainable Diner, a critical ingredient for sustainable tourism, WWF Philippines held the second installment of its own media workshop series at Viewpark Hotel Tagaytay. The Save Our Planet workshop series aims to inform and educate Filipino diners on the value of sustainable food system and eating and media partners. This year's topic aims to provide Filipino diners with knowledge and useful strategies for preventing, managing, and diverting food waste. Most Filipino diners are made up of our project partners from the media, academia, and civil society organization. For this reason, the project views them and their influence as agent of change. WWF Philippines hopes that by educating them about diverse food waste reduction and diversion tactics and platforms, and showing them how they can minimize food waste in their own homes and ways, our joint efforts would possibly impact society's approaches to food waste. There is no justification for food waste in light of the hunger and ecological crisis facing the nation and the world.
Wow, I have yet to hear of that story. That is an excellent way to help the environment. They aren't just promoting the reduction of food waste, but also the Filipino culture and cuisine. Actually, I had heard about many ways that different organizations try to help diminish food waste. You know, when the COVID-19 outbreak struck, WWFPH partnered with Greenspace, switched from collecting food waste from restaurants and hotels to collecting it from homes. Amazing, right?
Oh, I've heard about that. It's also like what Marikina is doing. The City Environment Management Office is expanding composting. The neighborhood administration collects only from businesses and collects about a ton of food waste daily.
Yep. See, you guys, there are so many ways that we can help diminish food waste. I personally try to lessen food waste, and honestly, I do have food waste. I think I really can't avoid it, but slowly I try to lessen it.
In what way though?
Well, I try to avoid buying so much food. I buy foods that I know I will consume. I cook small portions to finish it all and no food will be spoiled. Also, when I know I will no longer consume a product, I give it to someone who needs it and can use it more. Honestly, that is my toxic trait in the past. I tend to buy or even cook foods that were way too much for me to consume alone. Then I put them aside and forget it later. I had a time that many foods were in my fridge and I just threw it away since it cannot be consumed by anyone anymore. But that's all in the past. Now I know how important it is to not waste food. I already know its effects to us and the environment.
At least you know how to be more responsible in food and how not to waste food. To our dear listeners, please be more responsible with your food and help the environment slowly.
Right? Start small. The small things you do can significantly impact the future. Be more aware of food waste and its effects on our environment and to us. There is so much more information out there that can help you reduce your food waste. I know only a few people do it, but will you be like others? Of course not. You need to be more aware and raise awareness.
Correct. Know more about such things. Know how dangerous food waste can be for our environment.
Oops, I think that's enough scolding for our listeners. But remember to be responsible in handling your food waste. Know how to listen and slowly learn to avoid food waste. This is it for now. Again, we are Las Icónicos where we discuss social issues. I'm Alyssa Garcia. With me is Sheena Gutierrez. Today, we hope you learned more about food waste, its effects, and ways to avoid it. Stay safe and responsible. Adios. See you again for another new learning.